Hi, I'm Marty Didier, and I have an important message for you. Some of you may recognize my name because I've been posting these messages for years on the internet. But now it's important for me to have a video to explain what I know because we are currently in the midst of a major problem. Putting this video together is brand new to me. I have been spending years posting, and now I'm going to release a video. Let me tell you something. This is new, and I hope I do it right. It's important that this message gets out because it's crucial. It's crucial that something is done. My message today involves many parts, and I'm sure you're wondering how I came to learn about this information. Well, quite frankly, I got married, and I was in my 20s. I was happy. I was in love, and I thought it was it. And the family, unfortunately, decided to commit murder and join this criminal system, which is what we're dealing with today. Their job has been for a family business for years where they build and develop property. But you see, it's the property business with the connection with the banks and the clients that allow them to be a good source to go to for laundering drug money. It's a cash business. So for many years, they were laundering drug money or money for many people, including the CIA with their operations. One was, that I understood to be, the Argentina Dirty War in the later 70s. I heard stories that I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe loading people up on planes and flying over the ocean and throwing them out alive. But that's how they became disappeared. There's a network of drug lords throughout the United States that control the flow of the major portion of the drugs coming into the U.S. The family I was in for more than 26 years is one of them. They work with another family located up in McHenry, Illinois. They control over $80 billion worth of drugs out of a $300 billion drug market. I've talked about the family being involved in laundering money for the drug system since the later 70s. But I want to bring your attention to the earlier 90s. That's when, at a family gathering at my house, the O'Connor family was invited along with my wife's family to come over and gather. And you need to realize that Clyde O'Connor was just discharged honorably from the Air Force. He had been flying distribution flights for them. And he just got out. So they all came over to my house, and I met him. And it's interesting that my oldest brother-in-law, who's involved in this criminal system, went right after Clyde and wanted Clyde to join a business with him and fly distribution flights of drugs for the people that my brother-in-law was involved with. So I know that Bruce Adriani, that's who my brother-in-law is, ex-brother-in-law is, he went to downtown Chicago to a well-known shadow government law firm that had hired Barack Obama as a lawyer. And it's interesting that they've put Barack Obama on the case with my brother-in-law to put together his business in Florida. As my brother-in-law says, I had the best. Well, it also is interesting that some years later, after I've been out of the family and I've been posting all this, I happened to post about knowing that drug money isn't always used to pay off drug people. They use property. That's how I know murders are paid for. Now, in the case of Barack, Dr. Orly Taste had done some research, and she found that Barack was sitting on over 130 properties. All had strange Social Security numbers and names similar to his. We have a serious problem because our president not only is not a U.S. citizen, and I know that for a fact from Bruce, he is also a drug lord or working with the drug people. The 80 billion coming into the Midwest area, 5 billion or approximately $100 million a week in shipments are coming into the Illinois area. Those shipments are split with specific East Coast states. So Illinois is really a drug hub. Well, it's got to be very special because there are armies of undercover or operatives working to protect the drug lords. The drug system at their level is a different type of system. It's complete. The shipments from countries like Colombia all the way straight into the U.S. are all protected by corruption. Within the U.S., even the credit areas of people who are buying the drugs are checked. So there's a lot of effort to make sure that they get their money. What people don't know is what happens to the proceeds, the money made from these drugs. Such a big business. Where's all that money going, and what purpose is it used for? What most people don't know is that the proceeds are being used to fund black operations in support of a White House coup. That's what's funding all of this nonsense we're dealing with. I'll talk about the White House coup in a little bit because I happen to have been told the process, the details, or some details of how this is to unfold. There's a lot of bad stuff to talk about. If anyone were to investigate this criminal system and start with a drug family, a drug lord family that's controlling huge money and has connection with many large groups, you would be able to put together a big part of this picture as to how this criminal system is organized and then learn about what it plans to do. I'm going to assume that the U.S. drug lords are CIA assets because the family I was in boasted about being CIA assets, never to be prosecuted for anything, even if it involved murder. The protection systems surrounding them that I know are made up of CIA operatives, Pentagon contractors, Murdoch fantasy operatives, and many more. Whistleblowers, as in my case, have been the focus of trouble. I can't even begin to explain what I've had to go through. But some of it has been to set up fantasies that I would fall into, that at the end I would find my doom. Luckily, that hasn't happened. I know that there are 5 whistleblowers in the state of Illinois. One was very active in putting Governor Ryan in jail. She now is out of her situation. And then there are 4 of us, and I'm one of those 4. One person, a male, fled the state for his own safety, and I've lost contact with him. The others have had serious trouble and don't want to come out of their hiding place. I'm probably the only one that gets out and around, but I have a lot of trouble when I do so. In the 90s, the family talked about 9/11, only then it wasn't known as 9/11. They talked about other areas that the family was involved with this criminal system. Shocking. I mean, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. I honestly couldn't. But when they talked about 9/11, they actually said that something huge is expected to happen soon. And when it does, everything will start from that point forward. In the mid-90s, when it was explained to me about 9/11, they were actually looking at 3 different sites to choose one to start with. I understood it was New York. I was told that after that starts, there would be a series of things that would happen, one of which was to collapse our economy. The goal is to bring it down and force martial law. I was told that once martial law comes into effect, they were going to call that the day of the change. Call it the change, of which the prisons, as explained to me back then, would open up. Today they're called detention centers, and there are hundreds of them. They would open up, and people would be rounded up who were against the change. So how do you assess whether you're for or against this change? Well, I know I'm going to be in there. I would think there's a number of them who've been posting will be in there. But the point is that they will then house those people there. And later at some date, I understood that they were going to turn some of those camps into death camps, just like what happened over in Europe. You can imagine how I felt going to a family gathering and being told all this. I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was one outrageous thing after another. And it was the mid-90s. Who would I run to? Who would I talk to this about? My God, they told me that everybody's involved. There are people in the FBI involved. The police are involved. I mean, where do I go? Who do I take this message to without getting killed? You know, I mentioned or I asked the question, where do you take this information to? I mean, we're looking back in the year of 1997. I'm in the process of a divorce. I have a lot of people wanting to harm me. What do I do? Where do I take this? Well, I thought about it. And I have a friend for a number of years who's an FBI agent, special agent in Chicago. And I contacted him and we met, we talked. And he agreed to spend some time and learn a few things. I couldn't really say much to him because I didn't know if he was involved as well or the people above him. So I very cautiously just said that there's a lot of problems and I can't believe it and I'd like him to check it out. Well, he did. He spent 6 months on it and told me that his boss, an FBI manager, would now allow him to spend any more time. Well, I had lots of trouble starting in the first of the year of '99. And in a few months, I just had enough. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. So I ended up going to my attorney. And my attorney brought the agent back in. And with her and I, we talked about starting a full-blown investigation to get to the bottom of what this is. And from that point on, I often met with this agent. And then unfortunately, he retired. And I think it was like 2002. And I didn't have any more contact. I didn't know what was happening. But my hope is that something's being done about this because they certainly know that there's an issue. And I'm telling you, it's serious. And we can't allow this to get into martial law. So my hope is that something's going to happen. I'm just praying that it is. So if you have any questions for me, you're welcome to post. I'll try to get back to you. I'm considering making a few other movies. Maybe I'll be different with my second video. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.